Okay, what's up everybody? Today we're talking about the most versatile piece of equipment that you should have. If you don't have one already, you need to get one. I hear a lot of mixed things about them, but realistically, you can do almost anything you would do in the gym at home with this piece of equipment. The kettlebell, okay? The kettlebell. If you don't have one, you need to get one. It's basically a cannonball with a handle, okay? This was started by Pavel Satsumin. He brought over kettlebell training to America from Russia, I believe. But today we're gonna talk about the swing. Okay, so we have the American swing and the Russian swing. Those are the first two movements we're gonna talk about. You could do almost anything with the kettlebell. You can do squats, you can do deadlifts, you can do step-ups, you can do lunges. You can weight all of those bodyweight movements with a kettlebell. You could do things that are a little bit less in the public eye, like Turkish get-ups, one of the best shoulder stabilizers and core exercises you can do. Turkish get-ups are fantastic. You can do all sorts of rows, presses. You can weight pull-ups with them. You need to get a kettlebell. So in today's episode, we're gonna show you the Russian swing and the American swing. And then some of the faults that we see with those two, the things that I see go wrong as well. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is show you what this swing looks like, okay? So we're gonna talk about the setup, we're gonna talk about the execution of the swing, and then we're gonna talk about some of the faults that I see. So the most important thing is a good setup. So you're set up for success, you're not risking the injury of the low back. We're making sure that we're keeping the kettlebell where it needs to be. We have the core engaged. So we're gonna take a look over there at what those things look like and then kind of check into what some of the faults are. Let's take a look. Okay, so as I walk up here and get set up, this is how you execute the beginning phase of a kettlebell swing. This is how to set up properly to avoid injury, okay? So the first thing, feet are gonna be shoulder width. Now I'm pointing out you're gonna make a triangle between the kettlebell and your feet. You should be able to make a triangle so the kettlebell starts out in front of you. Okay, hips are high, hamstrings are loaded, shins are vertical, weight is in the heels. Now what I'm doing is leaning it towards me and then hiking it through my legs using my lats, so the muscles like underneath the armpits, okay? You turn your lats on and you hike it through without changing the back or the hip angle. This loads the hips for the explosion, which is what we're gonna look at in the next part of the video. Okay, so here we go. You can see how I set up here. It's the exact same way with the hike through. We are doing the Russian swing this time. So the key here is to keep the back flat. Weight is in the heels. We hinge backwards. This is a hinging movement, not a squatting movement. So I set my hips back and then pop forward. Okay, so I'm squeezing my butt at the top and letting my hips do the work and carry that kettlebell versus my arms doing the work on the Russian swing. So the Russian swing is a great exercise for understanding how to engage the hips, okay? And then once you get the hips engaged, we're gonna show you just a little bit of a front angle here. So same setup, you can see how wide the feet are here, not too wide, but not too narrow. Hike through and pop the hips. Okay, so I'm thinking here, if I were to have sweatpants strings hanging down, I'm trying to flick those away. So my shoulders aren't really doing anything but holding on. It's my hips with that hinge backwards that's popping it up. I keep the handle way above the knee to avoid stressing that low back. So we'll show you what the American swing looks like next. So here on the setup, you can see as I put the kettlebell down, we're gonna set up the exact same way, that lean, that hike, that pop. So now, this swing goes all the way overhead. The kettlebell kind of gets cut off at the top of the camera, but we're looking to poke the head through at the top. You make a little window with your arms, you poke your head through. But it's the same hinging motion as the Russian swing. So we just extend, we put a little more force on that. At the top, my shoulders are doing the work of stopping that kettlebell. So anticipate that endpoint and keep it from falling over backwards. So again, on that setup, you can see shoulder width, basically, not hip width. And we're hinging and popping all the way overhead with a good control at the top. We're not letting that kettlebell get floppy. We're keeping the core tight throughout the entire movement. And the handle, look at the handle of the kettlebell, stays way above my knee. That is key to save the low back from being too stressed. Next, we cover the faults. Okay, we are to the faults portion of the video here. Now watch on this takeoff. See how the kettlebell's not on the floor? My back was around it. I didn't really open my hips. It was just a really slow, awful start. We're gonna take another look at that here. So I did not set it on the floor. I did not hike it. I did not pop it. Watch as I set up here. The back is rounded. It's just an awful clunky start. We're not loaded, had to get a little extra swing, crank in the back, then I can finally get going. We avoid all that by a good setup. Here's another one that I see quite often. It's a really good setup, so you'll see me do a really good setup, but then you'll see on the swing, I let the handle go way below my knee, right? So I bend way over, chest is looking at the floor. This is a good way to really stress the muscles of the low back. My chest is not up tall. You have to keep the handle above the knee when you swing. That is key. Keep it high. Do not do what you just saw in this portion. Okay, so the workout for this week, we are going to start to work on some core strength and some stability. It's really, really important for anything else that you do. So the first thing we're gonna do, we have 5 rounds. We're gonna do a 30-second plank hold. You can do those arms extended on the elbows or either of those variations, but on your knees, keeping your butt in line with your shoulders and your knees. So you'd stay in a plank position just on your knees. So we're building that core stability. Super, super important. The next part, we're gonna work in a movement from last week. So we're gonna go 10 kettlebell squats. You're gonna hold that kettlebell and you're gonna go 10 squats. And then we're gonna add in the Russian kettlebell swing today. So we're gonna do the kettlebell swing that is right to the collarbones. Okay, it's all in the hips, keep the core tight. If you need a technique review, just go back and watch the video. So 5 rounds of that. Let me know what you think. Try it out, see how it goes. Do that 2 or 3 times this week, and let us know how it goes. So if you do not have a kettlebell, your homework before next week's video where we cover the clean and the snatch is to go get a kettlebell. You can find them on Amazon. You can find them at your local sporting goods store. Walmart has them. You can basically find kettlebells anywhere. Start with a weight that's manageable. Lighter is better in the beginning. 15, 26, or 35 pounds, somewhere in there, would probably be a good place to start. Once you have the technique down, that's key. Once you have the technique down, then you can start to increase the weight and have a variety of kettlebells. But you can get so much done with this piece of equipment. You can work out at home. You can work out in your office at work. You can just keep it in your office, under your desk, against the wall, whatever. Shut your door, crush a workout. You can take it with you in the car on family trips. You can take it with you on vacations. Not so much if you're flying, but you can still get a workout done almost anywhere. You don't have to take a bunch of dumbbells and a bunch of bands and a bunch of boxes and all sorts of different weights and carry a barbell in your car. Take the kettlebell with you and you can still get a fantastic strength training workout in and still get that heart rate up. We'll release a couple kettlebell workouts specifically that we do here in the gym, but your homework is to get a kettlebell and then check in next week for the snatch and the clean and press that we're gonna do with that. So until next time, this is Shay with Enlightened Athlete, and we will catch you next week.